Hello everybody, welcome to Technique Tuesday. Today we're going to make a baby wipe card, which by virtue of its description uses baby wipes. These are two cards I made earlier, and I actually couldn't decide between the Soft Suede or the Cajun Craze, so I made one of each. They're kind of the same but different. This is the stamp that the ink goes onto the baby wipe and it makes a nice mottled effect, so no two cards are the same. These are pretty similar because I made them both at the same time, so the ink pad I had that was going on was the same, but let's see what we end up today. So let's get cracking. So we need a piece of pumpkin pie, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, folded nicely and burnished with the bone folder. We've got a piece of Cajun Craze, which is cut slightly smaller. It's 5 3/8. It was actually cut bigger. The layer is not quite as big. It's 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and then we've got the 5 1/4 by 4 for the layer. This is the one that we're going to do the stamping on. So first of all, we're going to stamp the greeting, and we're going to do that with Soft Suede. It's from Falling for Leaves. It's a Thinking of You with a Grateful Heart. So I've already gone ahead and popped the polymer stamp onto the acrylic block. So let's get that nicely stamped in place so we know more or less where we want the leaves to be falling around it. Pretty easy. So we won't be using this ink pad anymore. We are going to be creating our own. So baby wipe technique, needs baby wipes. Doesn't matter what kind. I just happen to have Dove Baby, but you can use Huggers, you can use Pampers, you can use, oh, I don't have any, let me pop to the dollar store and buy a generic brand. The kind of baby wipe doesn't really matter as long as it's a nice alcohol based. So we're going to use 3 inks. I have crushed curry, pumpkin pie, and I would have Cajun Craze if I knew where my Cajun Craze ink bottle is. Whenever I buy a stamp pad now, I always buy the re-inker because sometimes they retire or they're a favorite and they get used up. Don't know where it is, but luckily in the past I had Dusty Durango, which is very nearly the same color, and I could lay my hands on this one. So this is the color that it's going to be today. So all we do is put some dots of ink onto the baby wipe. So crushed curry, pumpkin pie. I do try in the beginning to fill in the spaces, and then last but not least the Dusty Durango standing in for Cajun Craze. So there we go, we've more or less filled it up. And then what I'm going to do is take a piece of scratch paper and pop it under, because I'm going to be stamping off all of the edges. You know me and my plug for Paper Pumpkin. I love Paper Pumpkin. This is the kit that was the September 2021, and how convenient. It's got the solid and the overlay, the 2-step stamping method of 4 leaves, which is just what we want. So I'm going to take the plastic off, pop the first stamp onto the acrylic block, and then dip it into the ink pad, as I said, and see what that gets us. You don't want to press too hard and mush your colours in too much in the beginning. But this is such a lovely technique. You can use it for balloons, for birthdays, make tie-dyes, all sorts of fun things. I think that's pretty much it for that leaf. So give it a quick wash, pop it back on its place, take the other leaf, oops, and literally just stampity stamp some leaves around this card and make it look lovely. So I think that will do for what we need it for. So wash that off and pop that back in place. And as always, make a liar out of yourself, Alyson. I do have to bring the big ink pad back in because we're going to use that for the 2-step stamping. So 2-step, don't want to insult your intelligence. The bottom, the big solid one, is the 1 step. The overlay is the 2 step. It just means you get to have the definition, because how could you ever get that to be in the stamp? So fabulous. The lovely second step is really bringing out all those colours in the ink pad. So that's just great. So we'll pop that back on its little, I should bring it down here so you can see what I'm doing. So anyway, back to my love for Paper Pumpkin. This month, if you subscribe before the 10th of October, it's the Christmas one, the holiday one. And let me tell you, if you've never tried Paper Pumpkin before, now is the time. Now is your chance, because for the holidays, it's fabulous. Everyone who is a Paper Pumpkin subscriber in my Paper Pumpkin family, as I like to call them, is so excited. In fact, I've just had one lady who took a break for a little while, which is a nice thing about Paper Pumpkin. You can pause your subscription. Christmas is coming. I need to get back in. So how lovely is that? It's not a forever commitment. It's just nice. Now, the other thing, as you will see on my card, was a bow. And this is a baby wipe technique video. It's not a let's watch Alyson struggle for 3 hours to tie a bow video. So by the power invested in me by Blue Peter that I used to watch growing up, I have one that I made earlier. So I'm just going to take a glue dot and pop it under the greeting, pop the backing off, whoops, and this will just nicely fit in. As you will see, I did it with a double bow, which just means you double the cord before you tie the bow. So quite a nice little technique. Right, let's get it assembled now. I'm going to pop my little ink pad out of the way. Put some adhesive on the back and attach it to the first layer. As always, guys, those of you who watch my videos, and especially my lovely favourite people who have subscribed, you will remember that all the directions and the sizes are in the bottom. There's also a link to my website where you can buy the supplies, and there will also be a link to Paper Pumpkin where you can join my Paper Pumpkin family if you haven't already subscribed. So that's the card made. Last thing is to pop on a bit of bling, because my lovely regulars know me and my bling. So we will just pop one up there, one over here, and one down at the bottom. So there we have it. It uses the Paper Pumpkin, which you get to keep the little baby ink spot and the stamp set forever, so why not use them? This is the card that I've managed to make with it, with the re-inkers. Like I say, if you buy ink pads, it's always a good idea to buy the refills. You can make your own little baby wipe ink pads. And that's it, my lovelies. Thank you so much for watching.